My name is Darren, and I have a story that's Greek to me, and to you because it's a story about Greece.
Hi, I'm Chris, and I'm going to explain how the notes from a deceased uncle's notebook led to one of the most important inventions of the modern world.
Hi, I'm Adam. If you like touching buffaloes and saving dogs, sometimes you just gotta say no. But what does all this have to do with the word steam? Find out in this episode of History Bluffs. Hello and welcome to another episode of History Bluffs. It's where truth is stranger than fiction. And now I want to welcome to the show, it is your host, it's Gina!
Hi, everybody. Thank you. Hello, happy New Year to the world. I think we did an episode last week, but I wasn't here, so does that even count? Hi, welcome. And here we go. Tonight, we're going to play a game with you. It's called History Bluffs. And with me to my left, your right, probably, I have Chris, Darren, and Adam. They are our armchair historians to tell you a story somehow related to the word steam. So to pick up steam for the show, Chris, I'd like to just say hello to you and just see how you're doing and tell me a little bit about anything that happened fun over so far in the first part of the year.
Well, hello, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. And what's fun in the first part of the year? Well, it's been a good start to 2024. I just, a fun thing. I had a really good trip up to New York to visit family over the holidays. So that was nice.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is very lovely. And then I'm going to switch to Darren right now, right below you. Hi, Darren.
Hey, Gina.
I don't necessarily need it to be fun or interesting or good, but just tell me something.
Well, I mean, if you want to know what's happened this year, I just got COVID, and while that's terrible, if it doesn't kill me in the next 4.5 hours, I will live to be 55 years old.
Oh,
hey,
yay!
that's right. Tomorrow is your
tomorrow.
birthday.
So you're 111. Oh, that's cool.
I am 111.
Yeah.
That's
And
great.
like really, you're like
It's
6 foot, but
1 and 11 are divisors of 55.
Oh, that's true. Wow, that's a big deal.
I know.
yeah. We'll wait for our next show, which is influenced by the word 5. Hey, Adam, your thoughts?
My thoughts. I got COVID too.
Oh my gosh, what is happening? You guys should not be this close together on the same stream. I think that's what's happening.
That's okay. Remember, we invented History Bluffs during the pandemic, so this is fine. This is actually so on brand with the show. I don't know what could be better.
Exactly. Did anybody else, when Darren leaned forward and coughed, did anybody else kind of lean back and cover their mouth? Instinct, like
I know, it's instinct.
Now I'm going to have to Lysol this camera.
Exactly.
Well, I will say that the reason I caught COVID is because we traveled to Maine, where I grew up, to see the family for the holidays. So that's why I got, which was nice. We got it on the way back, so most of the trip was nice. Not a white Christmas. What?
You know the person you got it from?
One of the 160 people on the plane, I presume.
Oh, I thought you meant because I was like, I got it on the way back, and in my head you were driving, and in my head it was just Laura, and I'm like,
no, we drove last year. That's a long drive from Florida.
He's narrowed down to one person.
Yeah, one person. I'm pretty sure it was the dude in 14F.
Damn you, 14F.
So I bet you got it on the drive.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. You got it on the drive. So speaking of driving, one of the fun things tonight about this show is that it was inspired by the fact that Steamboat Willie is now it is public property. So it is the least fun of all of the Mickey Mouses, and it's quite okay.
It's very opinionated. I don't know. Maybe there's some Big Willie fans out there.
Oh, I'm a fan of Big Willie, but not that one. And so let me tell you why I don't enjoy him. He just wasn't funny. Like those little Chippendales and that little, look at me. That's not being dirty. It was really the Chip and the Dale. They had Chip and Chop and the Chop. And Donald Duck. They're just hilarious. What's that, Darren?
Chippendale, Big Willie. I know what you're doing.
Oh, dear. Oh,
it's because you're almost 55. You get it.
Gina, real quick, look at this on your screen there. Tony Galante had a.
Oh.
Oh yeah, exactly.
He also
Oh.
had a reaction.
He
See?
fought the pandemic training, and he was
I know.
that's the opposite, Tony. We learned differently. Remember?
Yeah.
No.
It
You
is
just can't
literally
help
in
it.
my body now to skeeve anything that comes from
To
a
be-
person's mouth.
To be fair, look at Darren's kissable face. I mean,
If this makes you feel better, I can mask up.
Okay, good, good.
that's-
Put that
thanks,
right
Darren.
over.
I feel
Perfect.
so much safer now.
Do that the whole
Honestly.
show.
Wait, that's mask cam.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. All right, well, on to the show. So here's
Oh,
how it
yeah,
works.
yeah, okay.
Hey, Adam, would you throw up the rules?
No.
I'm going to tell the audience how it works if you've not been with us before.
Oh yeah, 100%. Let's do some rules.
Yeah, 'cause
Hey. A rules card. There it is,
Thank you.
Gina. And for those
We're-
listening with the audio version of our
yeah.
show, Gina's going to read them for you right now.
Yeah, so we have the topic of steam for our inspiration tonight. All stories will involve that topic in some capacity. All stories will be factual when they need it to be. 2 of the stories must be completely factual. There will be one person who's going to try to bluff you for this show. So basically, they're trying to trick you, yes, and tell you a story that is not true. Now, they can kind of bookend it with facts and add a couple of factoids in there, but most of the story, if not all of the story, is completely made up. If you are watching from home, we love that. But we would ask that you don't find anything on Google and share it in the comments, because we want people at home to completely play, even if you know that the story that one of the actors is telling is a bluff. Okay, so let's just hop right in, and I'm going to actually go in the order from top to bottom. Chris, let's start with you.
How do we know what round we're starting? How do we even know what round we're in?
Yeah, I have a question. So we are going to do 3 rounds, actually. So this will be the first round. I'm going to let this happen for a second, and then I'm going to tell you how it goes. First, we're going to move into round 1.
Oh, let's do it. Round number 1.
Okay, so round number 1 is going to last either 60 or 75 seconds. One of the boys will tell me.
Oh, it's going to be 75 seconds.
Excellent. So we're going to do 75 seconds for the first round. Each round will get 15 seconds shorter, just to keep us on our toes.
Oh,
So Chris,
that's exciting.
I know. Chris, we're going to start out with you. Go ahead and fill us up with your breath of hot air.
Well, I think
So-
what you're missing is the Round Tracker 9000.
Well, this is actually invented for me. I'm so sorry. I am a spaz, and so when I host with everybody, I'm present. I'm in it. I don't think. So this helps me think. This helps me to know kind of who's gone and how far into the show we are, because I don't have a sense of time. Tune in for the next show. That will make more sense then. Okay, so now let's start, Chris. Really.
Let's
in
do
our
it for
first
real.
round. First person, as soon as you hear the boom.
All right.
Okay, so my story. Most people know that Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone. What they don't know is that his uncle, Henry David Bell, who was born in West Lothian, Scotland, was involved in that, 80 years earlier. So his Henry David Bell, the oldest of 2 boys, there's a 19-year gap between Henry Bell and his younger brother, Melville. Despite the significant age difference, the 2 boys were very close. Melville actually looked up to Henry as if he was almost a second father to him. Henry Bell, born with a natural curiosity, he became an engineer. He had a passion for science and experimentation, and that he would pass this passion on to his younger brother, Melville, and then later to his only nephew. Henry Bell became obsessed with the idea of propelling water vessels using steam. There was a lot of invention going on in throughout Europe at the time, trying to improve how boats were moved. And after several failures, he built the first steamboat that became the first commercial passenger steamboat, called the PS Comet, and it rode across the River Clyde in Glasgow, Scotland, shuttling passengers from Glasgow to other cities. The PS Comet, and there's more to come on the evolution of this story in round 2.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Chris. A clarifying question. Did you say comic or comet?
Comet, C-O-M-E-T, like shoot
Okay,
across.
like the scrubbing stuff?
Yeah.
Yes, that too.
Like the
Okay.
cleaner. Like
The cleaner. Like they maybe use that on the deck of the ship. That would be funny. Okay, Adam, your thoughts on Chris's story?
You know, there's so like trying to improve water transit. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, everybody's trying to do. I don't know. It felt like some filler there in round 1. I feel like, I don't know. It just felt like a fairly two-dimensional preface of a story. Excite me in round 2, Chris. Please excite me in round 2. It just felt like humans.
The 1800s that they were boring.
Okay, yeah, that's true. All right, okay, that's all I have to say. I'm not impressed yet, so let's fire. I'm waiting for the fire.
With that 1800s line, I was hooked. Let me tell you, riveting. Darren, your thoughts, please.
Well, Carlos isn't here to start throwing out Kaiser Sosa accusations.
No, he's not.
But I started hearing like Bell and Melville, and I was thinking like Chris was at the library and just started seeing words on the shelf and just started putting them together to make up this story. Comet, he went in the library bathroom.
You know where I think he went is that ice cream place that they have in the north. What is it, Carvel? And when they have a fish called Willie, the ice cream cake.
Yes.
Oh man, I want an ice cream cake now. I love Carvel ice cream cakes. Okay,
that's the whale, right?
I take back everything I said. This is exciting now.
Okay, so
for the record, it's Fudgy the Whale, not Willie the Whale.
See, you could have fooled me. I would the whole show thought it was Willie the Whale.
Willie was the whale in Free Willy, the movie.
Oh yeah, the one that escaped.
Maybe Fudgy and Willie are brothers somehow. I don't know how that works.
Free was not an adjective, it was a verb, and that confused me at first, but then I got it. Darren, your thoughts, please.
I already gave you my thoughts.
That's true. He did.
Oh, you did.
Do you want more?
Right.
I have more thoughts, but I'll save them.
He's full of
But
them.
remember, I don't pay attention to things, so that means that we have finished with Chris's story in round 1. And that leaves only one other thing to do right now is to go to Darren. Darren, please start your story at the sound of the boom. Go ahead when you can.
Okay. The year was 1825.
The whole time.
And there's more going on in Greece than you could shake a cloddy at, which is Greek for stick. With all the war, the Greeks needed ships, and so they ordered a steamship from the only place in the world that you could buy a steamship, England. Her name was Carteria, and she was the first steamship in the world to see naval combat. She weighed 233 tons, she had 4 masts for sails, 2 steam engines that turned paddle wheels, and she only had 8 guns, but she had a secret weapon. The boilers, which burned coal, could be used to heat the cannonballs until they glowed red hot, turning them into incendiary missiles that would set wooden ships on fire. Now, as amazing as the Carteria was, this story is about an even more amazing lady in the Greek Navy, whose story also takes place in 1825. Her name is Laskarina Bouboulina, and she is the first woman in history to not only command a naval fleet in combat, but after her death, she was posthumously awarded the rank of admiral by 2 different navies. First female admiral ever on record.
Wow. So Laskarina Bouboulina made it through 2 different navies. Already covered.
And she had nice guns, apparently.
8 of them.
More than that, as we'll see, but yes.
Okay. I have to go to you, Chris. I see you making faces.
Well,
Tell us what that means.
Just as Adam was not impressed with my opening story, I was equally unimpressed with Darren's attempted accent at the top of his story. But I will give him a lot of credit for the fantastic distraction technique of talking for, about roughly 58 of his 75 seconds about this one woman, and then completely changing course on us with the old distraction technique, where he's actually talking about Bouboulina, I think was her name. Bouboulina. So I'm curious. So kudos to Darren for maneuvering us through this meandering story, and I'm curious to see what he says in the next round.
Oh, that was scathing. And so, Adam, I know that because it's in the 1800s, it already impresses you. So, what else?
I almost wanted to withdraw any commentary after we already cited Bouboulina being ridiculous, but I think my commentary now is going to be relegated to never announce what a lady weighs. You just went ahead and said the weight.
That is right, Adam.
You're just declaring Bouboulina's weight. So rude.
That is rude. Laura is the
lucky woman. That was Carteria's
woman.
weight, by the way.
Carteria's weight. See? Oh, man.
Okay.
It threw me off. No, thanks for the correction.
Yeah, no, that's actually good. I don't think you should say how much a ship weighs either if you're going to assign a female. It's rude, gender.
They're referred to as hers, like she, they're the ladies. And then you're like, oh, but she was how many tons?
Yeah, that's not fair.
Dude.
So anyway, but at the end of the day, we learned a lot about that, and now we're going to go to Adam. He's the last one in round one, and I would let you have the floor, and please start your story at the boom.
Oh, okay, you got it. Let's see here. Let's make a boom. All right. So my story comes to you from the gorgeous vista of the western United States, the Rocky Mountains area, northern, known as Yellowstone, which is popular, one of the most visited tourist attractions these days in the entire United States. Because A, it's huge. I mean, there's room for a lot of tourists in there. But B, it is really, really gorgeous and has some very fascinating features. Both the animals, there's herds of antelope and buffalo that run around in numbers that you can't see elsewhere in the United States. And also, of course, there's the Rocky Mountains themselves, super gorgeous. But one of the attractions that keeps people coming back is the steam geysers. There's the topic, in case you're wondering for it, steam. So the steam geysers do keep people coming back like crazy, which has been a very cool thing. Now, what's also cool is historically, way before it was ever even a national park, the steam geysers were known to be very useful for the Native American tribes that called those the homelands in the Rocky Mountains. And how they use those is very interesting, which I'll explain more about in round two.
It's almost as if you timed that. That's excellent.
Nearly as if.
Nearly as if. I really appreciated the fact that you talked about Yellowstone in terms of features, as if it were, man-made and they added things. Let's throw in some antelope. Let's throw in, because these features will attract people.
Yeah, look, we need to install an antelope feature. That'll get them.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I do like how you featured the topic. Very nicely done. Darren, your thoughts?
Well, as someone soon to be a member of the aged population, I am pleased that you pronounced it steam geyser and not steam geezer. I appreciate that.
Okay. So does that mean Adam's winning right now?
Yeah, absolutely.
So far.
Yeah, I get the points.
Excellent. Chris, your thoughts on that as well, although I don't know how you can top that.
Well, I probably can't top that, but maybe I can be parallel to it while it's going on. And speaking of parallel, I enjoy Adam's description of Yellowstone and the wildlife. And he specifically said you can't see it elsewhere in the United States. And I say, unless you stream a show called Yellowstone.
Okay.
And also, because he mentioned that the Indian group called it Homeland, which happens to be another streaming show called Homeland. So I think in his recovery from COVID, he's been streaming all these shows, and I think he's seeing.
Would you say he's Kaiser Sosaing it?
I didn't stream that. I was just hanging out with the boys.
These are uneven parallels, but I love them. All right, so we're going to move in, because you know what that tells me right now? Thanks for the reminder. It's time for round number 2.
Let's go to round 2.
This is the round where it drops down to 60 seconds per person, and the points are double.
Oh, boy.
Points.
Oh, man, that means I'm double winning, not.
Maybe, I don't know. All right, but we are going to go in a different order this time. Darren, I'd like you to start this time. You have 60 seconds on the clock at the boom. Continuing your story about the Greeks and their steamboats.
So Bubalina's naval affiliation started in the 1790s when she married a Captain Demetrius Ioannousis, with whom she already had 3 sons, so why not marry him? When Demetrius drowned in a battle against Algerian pirates, she remarried wealthy ship owner and Captain Demetrius Boubalis. That's when she took on the name Bubalina. In 1811, Demetrius Boubalis also drowned in the sea battle with Algerian pirates. I guess she's got a type, right? And so after her second husband was killed, she took over his business, and she even expanded his fleet. Then in 1818, while she was part of an underground movement that was plotting to overthrow the Ottoman Turks, she used her fortune to start building trading ships that were actually warships in disguise, like Transformers. The first of these ships was called Agamemnon. And then when the Greek Civil War broke out in 1821, she took her fleet, led by the Agamemnon, to the city of Nafplion, and she broke a naval blockade.
Wow.
which is going to be her first of many naval battles.
So was she the Greek Trojan horse lady for ships?
I guess so.
Because if she disguised them as trading ships and then used them as naval ships, that's a Trojan horse, I think.
Oh.
All right, Darren.
Another
Okay.
color.
Wow, that's some double slow clap.
Yeah, that was good. That got me. Adam, thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's sounding pretty good so far. It's definitely outside of my knowledge sphere to be able to actually cross-check these. It is sounding, however, like, did we have this many specifics? Like, there's some specific dropping in here that I'm starting to wonder if, like, actually we're in the history books at that level of detail from that long ago in that part of the world. I don't know. It's starting to sound like a little, like, too, you're trying too hard. It could be a bluff. So I'm sus.
Accusation dropped. All right.
Yep.
Yes, I know exactly. Bubalina. That's great. Just for those of you from the podcast world,
Yes.
we have a comment from our friend Anthony, or Tony, I should say. Bubalina sounds like the name of the protagonist of a naughty fairy tale.
It's true.
I would run that.
Is Bubalina like the naughty fairy that actually bestows something? Like, here, you can use these until midnight. Then I need it back.
Hello.
Then they turn into pumpkins.
It's true. Then we have soup.
That's a story for another day.
And some people really enjoy that. Chris, your thoughts, please.
Well, I noticed as Darren, as far as Adam pointed out, in all of the detail, Darren mistakenly time jumped back to the 1790s. He had been started in the 1800s, so that's kind of raised a little bit of a flag for me. But then, and then he mentioned that the second husband drowned also, and immediately I was just like, wait a minute, is she a naval admiral or is she a black widow? Because she has 2 dead husbands, 0 autopsies. We can't tell how either one died because they both drowned. So I think a little foul play is involved.
They do say that in the criminal world, if there's a coincidence, that's usually an indication of something. Okay, so I will move on now. Okay, so that's the end of this first part of this round. That was very ineloquent. So now we're going to go to Adam. Adam, you're going to start our second round. We were promised buffaloes and dogs. When do they come? Go ahead at the boom.
Oh, that's a good question. All right, let's get some buffaloes and dogs up in here. All right. Oh, here we go. Okay, so, right. So obviously Native Americans, they inhabited the lands on that whole, in all the lands for a long time until, we did the thing. But it was about the 1870s when it was like the hard push west that was really starting to push them away. So the Crow and the Tukadika tribes were the primary residents of that Yellowstone area. And so what's interesting about this area of the United States is it was a lot of treaty-based relocation instead of the wars that happened a lot of times in the South or in the mid-plain lands. It was actually acts of treaties and negotiations that the Native Americans willingly accepted, and probably not that willingly, let's be honest. But it was the act of dedication in 1872. It was actually a Ulysses S. Grant thing. He was in charge of that. And they actually said, "My grandfathers advised the nation of the Crow to be good. And how can we be good when you take our lands, promising in return so many things which you never give us?"
Oh, that is a good representation for all the people who feel that way. Thanks, Adam.
I know.
Now let's tear them apart. Chris?
Well, I go back to the premise of my argument against Adam's story in the first round. And I say this, I believe it was Tukadika, and that's a gyro that he ordered from Uber Eats while he's in his recovery.
It's not. No.
That's all I had to say.
Okay. I would
delicious.
just like to say that Chris's comment there does not reflect the attitude or the thoughts of History Bluffs as a whole. Darren, your thoughts?
Well, despite that, I have to agree with Chris. It sounds like he was just, following on to my Greek story. And it's like, oh man, I could go for a gyro and
Yeah.
maybe
right.
some tzatziki sauce. I mean, to be honest, I could too.
Yeah, we just can't share it with you right now, but we could order one for you.
We've never had to issue a double apology to both taco makers and the Native Americans at the same time.
I know, but there's a first for everything, and we found it. So now I think that's the end of that round so far.
No.
Oh no, not that round. I meant Adam's part of that.
My part, the sub round. You mean the sub round?
I mean, I can read the tracker, Chris. Okay, come on. No, so what I liked about that round is we just picked on Adam a little bit about his zero selection. What we didn't do is say whether we believed him or not. Maybe we won't know until round 3. Still no mention of buffaloes or dogs, but hey, I'm digging it. All right, so now we're gonna go to Chris. Chris, this is your time to shine, so it better be good, okay? Because you like raised your hand and shit. So.
No. But just for the record, I was chanting no, but KNOW, no.
Oh yeah, fair.
He knows things. He knows things.
No. All right, we're gonna go. No. Your story now at the boom.
Okay, so a biographer wrote about Henry Bell. His mind was a chaos of extraordinary projects from his want of accurate scientific calculation. He could never carry into practice, meaning that he did so many things, but he never really finished. Owing to an imperfection in his mechanical skill, he scarcely ever made suit the rest, so that many designs, after a great deal of pains and expense, were successfully abandoned. He was, in short, the hero of 1,000 blunders and only one success. But there was one thing that he did do very well, with repeated success, and that was take exhaustive notes. He kept a series of notebooks on all of his many experiments, most of which failed, that would make the curator of the Library of Congress proud. And it is this collection of notebooks, when he died, Henry David Bell died, this collection of notebooks would go on to change history as we know it through a device invented by his nephew.
That gets me going. All right. Okay, so Darren's putting his hand over his heart too. Either he's having a COVID episode or something.
Are we okay,
itchy.
Darren?
Really just itchy.
Oh, this is the part where you do talk, though.
Oh! I didn't know you were actually asking me to respond. I thought you were just commenting.
No. Let's just enjoy that moment where he's itching.
Yeah. But alive.
No. Go ahead.
I was just thinking about maybe I should take some exhaustive notes about history bluffs like this, just in case it helps the future invent, time travel or something, so we can go back in time and tell this guy, it's like, hey, keep writing the notes, even though you're a complete abject failure.
I know. You know what's interesting when you talk about exhausting? You know what comes out of your exhaust in the cold? Steam.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that does work.
Yeah,
I mean, okay, Adam, I need your thoughts on Chris's little round there, which got me a little, pumpy there.
Just a quick clarification: was the author of the notes?
Henry.
What was he? Henry. Was he a partner?
He says uncle. Pay attention.
Uncle. I'm sorry. I missed that. Yeah. Who was he in relation to the inventor?
He was an inventor himself, but he was
he was the inventor.
Yeah. But he was also the much older uncle of Alexander Graham Bell.
Oh, right. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. All right. No, I mean, I get it. I think it tracks because inventors take good notes. Leonardo da Vinci, great example. His notes are legendary. So this is actually kind of solidifying for me because inventors, they're creative types, but they always have to record their ideas and everything. So that checks out. I'm feeling validity and I'm kind of excited. So it works.
Yeah. It's called a muddled mind. I have one, in case you haven't noticed. And so I relate to this guy. He's like Disney. Disney did the same thing. He has a lot of notes. He did a lot of stuff that he never finished, and he never ever stopped making ideas. So I mean, good.
Alexander Hamilton. He's famous for the notes, right? I mean,
yeah. I don't know. The guy.
Nice.
Oh, I get it.
Hamilton.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you now. All right, Darren. Oh no, wait. Actually, guys, that means that we're in the end of round 2, and we're gonna move into the last round of the show, which is gonna tie everything together right now in round
number 3.
Dina, real quick, before we jump, I just want to share 2 consecutive comments from one of our viewers.
Oh, would you?
That I love the men's cameras. Evolution of beard growth.
He's like the perfect evolution of beard. Oh, dear.
Clean shaven Darren to my goatee to Adam's full beard.
Yeah,
And Polar Nights, if you look really closely, I'm Italian, so like you can actually possibly even see mine as well. But hello and welcome. Is this your first time?
touche.
And Gina shaved right before the show.
Exactly. Well, like,
Yeah, she'd have.
give me an hour. I get the 5 o'clock. So that's excellent. Either way, welcome. We're happy to have you. We're moving into the third round in case you haven't been with us the whole time. And so I'm going to actually go in this order. Adam, you're going to go first this round.
Okay.
And the rounds are now moved to 45 seconds only. So at the end of this round, we will have a guess, an audience you can guess with us to let us know which of the 3 historians you think is actually the bluff for this evening's show. The other 2 are telling the truth. Adam, go ahead at the boom. It is your time.
All right, let's do this. 45. I got to get some buffalo in here. Okay, here we go. Okay, so what was interesting is after the Native Americans, after they signed, did the treaties with Ulysses S. Grant, the Act of Dedication, they kind of, a lot of them gave up their lands, but they were allowed to stay on for a little while. After the national park was created, for up to 7 years, there were still Native Americans around. However, it was they started realizing that all their resources were getting taken away. They couldn't hunt there. They started to realize how valuable the hunting land was. The buffaloes, particularly the buffalo, the beef, the bison. And sorry, I got to wrap this up. So there was finally a Supreme Court case in 1896, 1800s, and they decided that the legislation, they had to leave. So they all had to finally leave 1896. And that was the end of that. There no more Native Americans in Yellowstone.
Wait, I apologize. Just so for our viewing audience, Adam got thrown into this show very last minute. And so, Adam, I do want to make sure that you have finished your thought. I don't want you to feel shortchanged on that. So basically the tie-up is that for 7 years, they were kind of hunting and trying to keep their land alive. And then they were completely extinct. Is that what, I don't know what other word to use, but
finally pushed out farther west. So basically they it's like they signed the treaty, but they're like, but we can still hunt, right? And then they're like, no, you can't. And then then they're like, oh, Supreme Court, oh, we'll make this a thing. And then they're like, nope, get out. And that was terrible. It's tragedy.
That is terrible. So they moved further west. They just couldn't be in that national park. Is that the deal?
Yeah, they're like, it's a national. Yeah, sorry, it's Yellowstone now. You can't hunt here anymore.
I have 2 words. Rude. Okay, so Darren, please, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, if you're saying that the federal government negotiated something with Native Americans and then later didn't live up to what they negotiated, you want me to believe that? I totally believe that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah. I know that wasn't really a stretch, was it? Yeah.
What's that?
I haven't even seen that, and I believe it.
Yeah, it's a great book also if you are not the viewing type. Although so now I would like to also see get Chris's thoughts on Adam's completion of his story. Do you think he is tell us all about what you thought?
Sure. It was enjoyable to hear the completion of Adam's story and also to hear the completion of Adam's watch list that he's been watching while he's been recovering from COVID. The other 2 movies he clearly watched were The 7-Year Itch and then the Ruth Bader Ginsburg biography. That's the Supreme Court thing.
Oh, I don't know about that. All right.
She voted against, right? Like, no, I don't know.
No, I'm just saying the Supreme Court.
She's not that old.
No. I'm just saying that it inspired him to add that to his, possibly created story.
Possibly. Possibly it was.
Well, I think that story has validity, but I don't know because all of the stories do. Now we're going to switch on over. It's going to be, we're going to go to Chris for his 3rd round of his story. Yes. So go ahead and talk to us a little bit more about Alexander Graham Bell and his uncles.
All right. So Henry Bell, who never married, and he only had the one brother who was 20 years his junior. Henry Bell left his entire estate to his lone nephew, Melville, his little brother's. So Alexander Graham Bell would famously have his own penchant for science and experimentation. He became enamored with one experiment that Henry wrote in his notebook about something that he tried to implement on his steamship that fed a simple communication system between the bridge and the engine room. And with the benefit of improved technology over the course of the ensuing 40 years and improved scientific techniques, he would create his own two-way that he would then refine over 50 more years, and it resulted in the invention of the telephone.
Wow.
So you're saying that
Changed the world
that
as we know it.
Alexander Graham Bell used his nephew's notebooks to inspire his
Other way
invention of the
around.
telephone,
Other way
or
around.
other way around. But still, like, that's awesome.
His uncle who created the first commercial steamship in
Yeah.
Scotland, and Alexander Graham Bell, who was born in Scotland, the New World, and inherited these notebooks and covered this system that he kind of tinkered with, and over the course of 5 years, created this device, improved it, and launched. Got the patent for the telephone.
I love that. That's very cool. So he had a patent, but he only got that for 25 years, and then Bell took over. Okay, so Darren, your thoughts, please.
You're muted, Darren, by the way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I covered up the mute button with my mouse. I'm imagining that the mute is an apt thing, because I don't think his invention made any sound except maybe for a screech.
Oh, like a screeching, like a record scratch, like a
Like
double
a screeching
take.
sound, yeah.
So, I think he just called you the bluff, but I don't know. We still have to hear the rest of the stories. Adam, your thoughts, please.
Okay, so I was first bored, then excited, and now round 3 with Chris. No, I'll do a bigger summary later. But right now, I'm realizing that Chris visits Scotland on occasion, and so he might have run across this story. So this could be real. However, I also feel like I would have heard about this by now, because like Alexander Graham Bell's story is like one of the first ones you learn. Like, well, I was born in the late 70s, so through grade school there weren't inventions like iPhones and the internet. We were like, ooh, the telephone. And so it's kind of a prominent story in grade school. It's like Alexander Graham Bell and his Watson. I don't know. I feel like I would have heard this. So like, familiar with Scotland versus I would have heard this. So I'm kind of balancing on a knife here.
Now they just teach them Steve Jobs, and then I think they
Yeah,
Jobs, however you say that. So,
Tim Apple. Yeah.
Okay, so that means that we are at the end of Chris's story. That means we just we still have to hear Darren's story about Boobalina, and I can't wait to hear the rousing finish for this. Go ahead, Darren, at the boom.
Okay. So after years of fighting in the Navy and heroic action, Boobalina's faction in the Civil War was defeated, because this was a multi-faction war. And in 1824, through political maneuvers, including trumped-up charges of witchcraft, Boobalina was stripped of her property and exiled to Spetses, which was the island that she's from. And it was there in May of 1825, while she was in exile, that she was murdered, basically, in a dispute involving her son, who had eloped with a local girl, and the family was upset about it. But a few days after her death, she was awarded the honorary rank of admiral by Tsar Alexander I of Russia. It turns out the Russians really don't like the Turks, and she had really done a lot of damage to the Turks. It took the Greek government a bit longer. It took till 2018 that they awarded her the title of Rear Admiral.
Wow.
They called her Rear Admiral because it was in the past.
Oh.
Oh, no, I don't know. Jeez. Oh, there it is. There you go.
Chris, you tell me your thoughts on that one. I would love to hear.
God. Who did you say? Who did you call on?
Chris.
Chris.
Okay. Well, she was murdered conveniently to get rid of any.
And I know you're thinking Gina would be telling the story, since it has murder.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, murder.
She got
And
exiled.
Boobalina.
She got exiled to where she was from. I mean, that's not much of an exile. We're going to send you back to your hometown. Okay. But then it was her son, I guess, that eloped with someone, and she got murdered because of that. It does sound very well. All of that is absolutely plausible. But for me, it was, wait a minute. She got an honorary title from the Russian Tsar, but she's not Russian, so that made me say, okay, I'm not sure about this.
Oh, but I do have a clarifying question.
that would be
Was Russia one of the naval armies that she became friends with when she was, doing two armies or navies?
Well, so the Russians and the Turks fought a long series of wars
That is true.
right
That part is
before
true.
the Greek Civil War. And so her going out and blowing up a lot of Turkish naval ships sort of ingratiated her to the Tsar.
I mean, everything about this story ingratiates her to me. So I hope your story is true. Adam, please, your thoughts.
That what was her home island name? Spicy Island.
It's actually named after the Greek word for spices, pizza. Yeah.
See, Bubalina is spicy. That's all I got. I believe it. I'm in. I'm sold.
Well, I felt like he was spicy when she said, and then
Admiral,
they stripped Bubalina. But he did continue the sentence at least.
Bubalina and all her tonnage. No, that's the ship. I know.
That's
so
the ship, right.
so spicy.
233 tons.
Hey.
All right. Well, so we have heard about spicy Bubalina. We have heard about buffaloes, and we have heard about the telephone. So now that means if you look above me, all the rounds are done. So now it is time for our studio audience to tell us in the comment section at your leisure if you thought that it was Chris, Darren, or Adam in their story. So I'd also like to hear from the historians so that you can also tell us who you think the bluff is, keeping in mind that one of them already knows that it's them. However, we'd love to hear from the audience, and you just let us know, and we'll kind of see what we think at the end. Chris.
Well, this is a tough one because we had the opportunity to hear about all of the different movies that Adam's been watching as we record through COVID. But then we had Darren here with Bubalina, which is just that's right up there with some of the best names we've had on this show. I'm gonna go with Bubalina as the bluff. I'm gonna say Darren's the bluff.
Okay, so we have one vote for Darren. Darren, it's your turn to fire back. What are your thoughts?
It's tough because on the one hand, Chris has a story about a Scottish family that never threw anything out, like books that 50-year-old,
Fair.
which is very plausible, And then we have a story about the federal government, going back on its word to Native American people. I think they might both be true. I think Chris might be right. But no,
maybe nobody's bluffing.
This is the first confession.
First ever.
Are you confessing, Darren?
No, I'm going to go with Chris because I don't recall this relationship between the invention of the steamship and Alexander Graham Bell.
So you didn't hear about Henry and Melville at all?
No, right, no. Yes.
Okay. So we have one vote for Chris, one vote for Darren. Adam, that leaves you to break the tie.
Yeah, wow. I mean, with Chris, I have the normal feelings of okay, there's some factual stuff, some not stuff I didn't know. But with Darren, it's one of those stories where you either picked this specifically from history to sound ridiculous enough to throw us, or you picked this from history because it's true. Or you made it up. You know what I mean? It's
it's very hard.
It is one or the other.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Statistically.
I know, but that's what's making it tough. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna vote Darren.
Okay.
I'm voting Bubalina.
Okay, so Bubalina, the spicy Bubalina has 2 votes, which means Darren has 2 votes. Chris only has the 1 vote. Now, here's how it works, folks. If Adam is the bluff, then Adam has won the whole show because he fooled us all. And then if not, then I don't really know what happens. But at the end of the day, and then we have 1 note from the audience that said, I need Bubalina to be real. So do I, Tony. So do I.
We need Bubalina.
So that means there's only one thing for me, that's to get out of the feed, and that will leave everybody else. We can put up an overlay and reveal who tonight's bluff is. Adam. Take it away.
Okay, well, let's find out. Okay, we're in our prospective bluff holes. We're gonna find out. Was it Chris? Was your bluff Darren? Or could it have been me? I'm gonna reveal it right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the bluff for tonight's show has been Chris! It was Chris all along, you bastard.
There it is. And Bubalina would have gotten away with it. Well, he's not me. That's good.
Bubalina did get away with it.
Bubalina did get away with it.
Sort of, yeah.
Scot-free.
Hey, if you want to see Bubalina, go find yourself a circa 2001 drachma coin from Greece, and she is on whatever the front is. I can never remember.
Really?
Obverse and reverse.
You gave us a coin.
Is,
wow, that's amazing.
Wow, do you have that coin?
No.
No.
Why did you say that then? I wanted to see it.
Because I learned it in my research.
I know, but that was fantastic. Chris, was any part of that story true? except that he invented the telephone.
Well, Alexander Graham Bell did invent the telephone. That was true. And Henry Bell did create the first commercially used steamship for passenger service in Scotland. But everything else in between those two facts was made up. They were not related whatsoever.
Bookend with 2 facts. That's amazing. That's
they were not related whatsoever. Although Alexander Graham Bell was born in Scotland as well, they were not related.
I didn't know that because every time they say hello, it doesn't sound like he has any type of a dialect.
And you got to look up Bubelina because, like, she's a badass. One of her sons was captured in battle and killed by the enemy, and she, like, personally beheaded 3 Turks herself. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yes, and did she marry a 3rd Demetrius and then drown him?
Maybe.
If she wanted to.
Yeah.
She would if she wanted to.
She would if she was. She's a badass. And your story was just so sad. But this was an absolute wonderful episode. Thank you so much for joining us, to our studio audience and to our historians as well. Adam, take us out of the show. Thank you so much.
All right. You got it. This was History Bluffs. You can always find us where you get your podcasts, and you can watch us every single week on Wednesdays at this time on Twitch and YouTube. See you next time.